Hey everyone, Diavolo here, and welcome back to the spoilers that have just dropped for chapter 214 of Tokyo Revengers. If you guys are new around here and want to keep up to date with the latest spoilers and reviews for Tokyo Revengers, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and also leave a like on the video, as it really pushes my content to a bunch of new amazing people. But enough of that, let's get into these spoilers. So obviously the spoilers for Tokyo Revengers this week didn't come out last night like they normally do, which was kind of annoying because I stayed up super late for them, but that's alright, they're out now so we can get into them anyway. So we've got one thing that is 100% confirmed this chapter, and one thing that I guess really isn't kind of confirmed. So we'll first go over the one that isn't 100% confirmed, and then we'll go over the one that is confirmed, and I'll kind of give my thoughts on where I see like the series or this chapter progressing from here. So the first spoiler or apparent spoiler that we got, apparently Tokyo Revengers chapter 214 will revolve around South and Draken's fight, and nothing much else has been revealed as of now, but obviously when they released this tweet they hadn't got the latest information, I think. So obviously this is actually true because they've released more tweets, you know, recently or a few hours later with some more news, I guess you could say. Most likely probably going to have some intervention, I would say, from Brahman's side, which might break out into like an all-out fight or something between the Rokuhara Tandai and Brahman. I could really see it developing into that because I feel like Tyranno South is going around and trying to like recruit all of the original Toman members to create this gang of delinquents just like Toman, eventually working his way up to maybe even, you know, taking Mikey into his clan and forming this Bonten in the future. That could be a huge possibility, but what I'm thinking is more or less that, and this is why I've got Mikey in the thumbnail of the video, is that Mikey is actually going to show up, not this chapter, but the next chapter, and stop whatever row is going on between the two gangs. As we know, these three gangs are in some kind of like stalemate or power struggle. They're not really fighting because they're quite equal on terms of strength. So every time, I guess, maybe all three of them meet together, they end up just kind of walking off and not breaking out into a fight, and I could see that it could possibly happen here, especially if Mikey is showing up to stop them trying to recruit, you know, people from the original Toman guys, and he's doing that to try and like protect their future perhaps. It was just a thought of mine that I've had for about the last week or so, like concerning Draken and the other guys and their futures and stuff, because it's extremely interesting that he's gone after Draken. Obviously Inyapei's there as well, but I'm wondering if he's going to go after other people. Tyranno South I'm referring to. The second line, or the second spoiler that we get this week, is that it looks like Brahman has a deeper reason or deeper set reasoning for why they want to scout Takemichi into the gang. And I'm pretty sure this is referring to the fact that Takemichi is the unofficial, you know, 11th generation captain of the Black Dragons. And I feel like they want to scout Takemichi into their gang to actually recreate something like the original Black Dragons, which I've been saying in the last few videos for these spoilers and reviews, if you guys have obviously noticed. This is what I think is most likely going to happen. Other people think that this Kawaragi Senju character may also have some kind of similar ability to the time leap that Takemichi has, and that's why they want to take Takemichi into Brahman, as then they might have two time leapers or something like that. I've seen some people say that, and I've seen a Japanese website that believes in that heavily, but I'm like not 100% sure on that. I don't know whether or not we're going to get this entire time leap type thing from another person. We kind of just had that with Kisaki in a way, even though he wasn't a time leaper, or probably wasn't a time leaper. It's kind of used that idea, I felt like, in the Tenjiku arc. So I don't know, and I don't think that there is going to be another time leaper in this arc. I just feel like Mikey will know that Takemichi has returned to this timeline in a similar way that Naoto would know when Takemichi returned to his original timeline. I don't know, that's just something that I've been thinking over the last few days as well. Obviously there's some other things that could definitely happen this chapter, like Mikey could show up, but I doubt heavily that that is going to happen this chapter. It's probably going to happen in the next few or so, just because I think there's a bit of a slower pace to this final arc, as it's going to drag out a little bit longer, which is kind of what everyone wants, as these chapters are quite short. So it would be quite sad to steamroll through this entire last arc and then end the series. I feel like in the next chapter or two it's going to go to that stalemate with Mikey showing up and everyone kind of separating and going their own ways. Perhaps Takemichi will be interested in going and learning more about Brahman, and will himself go to Brahman after Mikey shows up and like splits up this entire fight that is about to break out, and he'll go to Brahman like we know he's done before. He goes and does his own thing when he's quite interested in trying to figure out stuff. He'll go there and, you know, ask questions and probably, you know, end up falling maybe into their group some way or another like that, if they're nice people, that is. As we don't really know what they're like. We don't really know Tyranno South's entire plan yet either, and we don't know if they're a bunch of bloodthirsty people either. It could be the complete other way around, and Brahmin is actually the bad gang for all we know, and the Rokuhara Tandai is this new good gang that is trying to create a new era of delinquents, just like Toman, and it not being like a bad thing, but them being good, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's just thoughts that I have and kind of predictions on where I see specific things headed. There is one main reason why I think Takemichi is going to create these 11th generation Black Dragons with the original, you know, first gen, I guess you could say. And that is pretty much the reasoning, like, that Takemichi said himself, is that, like, Takemichi is bent on forming a gang to face Mikey and eventually like try and make him come back from his delinquent world to live a normal life with his friends. So he's hell bent on trying to like form a gang so that he can, I guess, bring Mikey back from that state, and that's why I think the Black Dragons are going to get created through Takemichi. And it's just more and more evident, I think, each chapter so far, with more and more of the original Black Dragons showing up. And now that we've got all of the original Black Dragons, bar obviously Shinichiro, because of what happened to him with the Kazutora incident, then I see, you know, like Takemichi just slotting into that position perfectly, and them reforming that gang with, you know, the new addition of Kawaragi Senju perhaps still as the co-leader. It's just something that I see extremely heavily happening, and it would be a great way to tie off the entire story with like the revival of, I guess, what started it all, because maybe these Black Dragons did start the entire delinquent gang thing in the Tokyo area, so maybe it would be a good way to end it with the Black Dragons being the ones to like end this entire delinquent era, just like the way they brought the entire delinquent era into the world in the first place. I think it would be quite symbolic and quite cool. Like Takemichi has always just been, you know, compared to Mikey's brother for quite a while now, so I see that being something extremely likely to happen, like I've said throughout this entire video. Obviously this chapter is going to have the fight that's going to happen between Draken and Torano, and as much as people obviously want to see Draken come out on top and defeat Torano, which is obviously what I want to see as well, it just wouldn't make much sense for Draken to be able to defeat him this early on into the series, taking out one of the bosses like this early in the series, like displacing that entire stalemate that these three gangs have. I just don't see it happening so early. Instead I see something like I've already said in the video, Mikey showing up maybe partway through their fight and stopping this entire incident from even happening. It's just obviously a speculation. I don't think Draken would be able to beat him, and I feel like if Draken seems to be on top, then this guy's gang is just going to try and jump him. You know, he's got a bunch of these crazy ass dudes like Madarame Shion and a few guys from the S62 generation, so I wouldn't be surprised if they all just decided to jump in and start attacking Draken if they see Torano starting to lose. But anyway, I'd love to know what you guys all think, so make sure you drop a comment down below and let me know what you all think. And if you guys are new around here and want to keep up to date with the latest Tokyo Revengers spoilers and reviews, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and also leave a like on the video as well if you do enjoy my content, as it really helps out with the algorithm and pushes my content to a bunch of new amazing people. But for now, it's been your professional degenerate, Diavolo, and I'll see you all in a bit. Bye.